right, I absolutely love it. Curious to see what happens with the Packers this offseason. Well, Nick, as they say, we save the best for last,
Yuck.
and the best in the division were the Chicago Bears. And can they repeat this next year? Well, they've got a lot to build on. I've got to imagine when we get to the positions of need and we talk about the offseason, it's going to be pretty defensive dominant. But what I do know is you had some changes on the coaching staff when it came to the offensive side of the ball. So why don't you talk to me a little bit about some of those coaching changes?
Yeah, so starting off with the big coaching change is obviously we lost Declan Doyle to the Baltimore Ravens, our offensive coordinator. And listen, it makes sense for him. He wasn't the play caller here. That's Ben Johnson. That being said, Declan Doyle is regarded as one of the best up-and-coming offensive minds. He actually, before the offseason, was like maybe he could be a head coach candidate somewhere. He definitely needs time actually calling plays to show that. But what an opportunity for him to go to Baltimore, work with Lamar Jackson, work with that high-powered Baltimore offense that Declan got to see when the Bears played them earlier this year, and that was without Lamar Jackson. So it's a big loss for the Bears, huge game for him, and super happy about it. He wasn't going to go anywhere with Ben Johnson, obviously, calling the plays himself. But Caleb Williams really liked him. The offense really liked him. They talked super highly about him all season long, and after he left, Ben Johnson even said, he's like, there are future head coaches on this team, and he definitely was implying for Declan Doyle. So that was a huge loss for the Bears. And then one that I'm pretty upset about is that we lost Eric Bieniemy, our running backs coach, former Super Bowl champion as an offensive coordinator with the Kansas City Chiefs. He goes back to Kansas City. Obviously makes sense for him. Running backs coach to OC is a huge jump, but also worked with Andy Reid, worked with Patrick Mahomes, worked with some of those guys that are still over in Kansas City. So the Bears lost him. They brought in a few other guys. I think it was Brian Letwig or like something like that. He comes from Boston College, was friends with Ben Johnson. So those guys come in. He comes in. He doesn't even have a for sure position yet. He was the offensive coordinator last year for Boston College. So Ozzie Trapillo also knows him, our left tackle, which that's someone in the draft that we might have to go after. I know we'll go through that in a little bit, Jesse. But the good news is that we ended up keeping Al Harris, which Al Harris is huge defensive backs coach. I say this all the time, but he didn't have a healthy secondary all year, and that secondary usually consists of Kyler Gordon, Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, Terrell Smith. He had Kevin Byard, who was an All-Pro and Pro Bowler, Jaquan Brisker. A lot of guys overall that he is super, super beneficial for. And bringing him in. Like we saw Nashawn Wright go from a guy that barely made the team, wasn't even expected to make the 53-man roster. And suddenly it's like, oh, this guy could get a $3 or $50 million contract because he had 5 interceptions, 11 pass deflections, 3 fumble recoveries, and 2 forced fumbles. Like this guy flat out rocks. And Al Harris brought him with him, or it seems like he encouraged the Bears from his time with Dallas to bring him in. He was on the Vikings last year with one bar, and honestly, I think that was a really good move for him because he got to go against Justin Jefferson. But he comes in an impactful player, and Al Harris really elevated that group. Also, Tremaine Edmonds, obviously having the big year he had some impact there as well. But he's a really good combination with Dennis Allen, so super happy that he stayed. Dan Rochar as well stayed, our offensive line coach, so that was really big. Overall, though, the Bears lost those 2 guys. We lost Ian Cunningham, our assistant general manager, which we didn't get the comp picks at the moment, but the league still hasn't determined if it was a full promotion or not. I know Atlanta is kind of weird how they're structured, and they're saying Matt Ryan's the guy, but then Matt Ryan came out in his interview and said, oh, well, I'm actually not going to be working with the scouting team or the team getting free agents and stuff. Like, that's what a general manager does. Like, I'm going to let them do their thing. So Bears still have an opportunity to get 2 compensatory picks, which is great. But overall, that's kind of the news from the coaching staff. So we still needed an OC. Press Taylor, who is currently our pass game coordinator, former Jaguars offensive coordinator, is rumored to be potentially getting called up. We've had a couple other phone calls with others. So the Bears probably won't hire someone for another couple of days here, but they've definitely started to do their search. And everyone that's walking into that room knows that they're not going to be the primary play caller. It's more of learning about Ben Johnson, how to be a strong play caller like he is. And it's a good opportunity, especially with a young Bears offense. It's a really good resume builder. And if the Bears continue to have success, like that person's probably going to get called either for an OC job or maybe, who knows, a head coach job, kind of like Declan Doyle was rumored to be. So not a ton of moves overall, but I'm happy that this Bears coaching staff is staying mostly retained at the moment.
Well, selfish reasons here. My son, my 11-year-old son, is a huge Ravens fan, and yeah, every day he's like, "Who are we hiring? Who are our coaches going to be? Are they good?" And I said, "I think Declan Doyle's a bright young future head coach in this league," but I didn't know a lot about him. So you're saying, tell my son, good hire, right? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yeah, fantastic hire. He's 29 years old. He's worked with Sean Payton and Ben Johnson, and he literally rejected the Eagles offensive coordinator position because clearly the Ravens had that much interest in him. And the Ravens are building a super young staff too. And I think that he's going to do really good things. He's highly regarded clearly. So yeah, your son should be very happy with Declan Doyle.
All right, awesome. Yeah, that's what I told him. I said, I know he was a tight ends coach for Peyton, which is a great offensive mind, and then now Ben Johnson. So good to hear. All right, well, talk to me about the Chicago Bears and where they stand from a salary cap perspective entering this offseason.
Yeah, so the Bears actually have some money, all $5 million if it ends up being 304 million in between that number that the NFL has predicted from Tom Pelissero. Yeah, not a lot of cash, but the Bears have a ton of opportunities to restructure guys like DJ Moore, Joe Tooney, Grady Jarrett, a lot of contracts here that can be moved around, even Tremaine Edmonds. There's some cap casualties, and like Baz was saying, it's that season where we're all making contract, like who's a cap casualty, who can get things moved around. If the Bears were to just do a couple of restructures, they can get well over $30 million freed up right there. So that's $35 million. I always take away $14 million from that number because you have rookies that you have to pay, especially with how first and second rounders have been getting paid a ton more lately. So that would put the Bears at like $21 million technically. And then you have a couple other guys, obviously, that can restructure. Jalen Johnson can't. Bass said it best. You don't want to be like the Saints where you're constantly restructuring, but like 3 or 4 every year would be great. I know that the Bears converted Khalil Mack's number 1 year entirely into a signing bonus. You still had to kick some of the cash down, but it helped out. Ryan Poles is super good with the cap. I think that he is really, really solid and has planned ahead for this situation. One guy I would like to see restructure is Kyler Gordon. We got 3 games out of him this year, and we're paying him some stupid money next year. So Bears do have an opportunity to open up a ton of cap. There's also some cap casualties like DeAndre Swift could save the Bears. I think it's like $6.2 million. Bears were to trade Cole Kmet, who's a trade target potentially, or release him. That saves over $5 million. I know that Ben Johnson likes his 2 tight end set, which is obviously worked out well. Colson Loveland's rocked, but you're paying Cole Kmet over $11 million this year, and he's not producing numbers. And his blocking's okay. It's not fantastic. So that's another option right there. But Tremaine Edmonds, Bears can get over $15 million if they decide to get rid of him. And right there, now you're pushing a ton of cash. I want to see the Bears bring back some other players, which I know we'll get into in a second, but there's a ton of opportunities to open up cap space. It's just, they got to be super strategic about it. And I hope that they're aggressive in free agency, as there's a guy named Trey Hendrickson that I would love to see Dennis Allen get repaired with.
Player I was going to ask you about is Jalen Johnson. Now, I know that you guys just signed him to a massive deal a season or 2 ago, but he's already out of guaranteed money. Now, I know that if you just outright cut him, you're going to take some massive dead money. You will save some, but usually players don't like to enter seasons without guaranteed money. So do you think that there's a chance that they rework his deal, or maybe they put him on the trade block? You guys are, although thin throughout the season at corner due to injury, you do have a lot of good corners like on that roster, right? And a lot of you got money to spend. You got the draft ahead of you. Do you think there's a possibility he could be on his way out?
You said Jalen Johnson, right?
Jalen Johnson, yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's hard to say because imagine what he could have been like with Al Harris if Al Harris made Nashawn Wright who he is. You know what I mean? And when Kyler Gordon was on the field, he was so solid. Kevin Byard, too. The other thing, too, that I want to say to that is Jalen Johnson agreed to the contract. You know what I mean? Like, he's the one that sat there and potentially was going to hold out and then became the highest paid defensive back for a second. It's like, okay, like hopefully you haven't run out of that money because you got paid a ton more than any 5 of us will ever make all combined together in our entire life. I hope one of us does, but yeah. And don't forget about me when you do. But overall, Jalen Johnson chose that he signed the contract. He shouldn't be mad about it. If he's mad about it, then yeah, be like, hey, we're going to convert some of yours to a signing bonus. but you put yourself in this position. And he didn't even really play last year. And when he did play, I think he rushed himself back. I'll stand on the hill that Jalen Johnson should not have come back as soon as he did. I think that he rushed it because now he's potentially going to have to go through more rehabbing this year, which is not on the Bears' dime. It's on his. And like you're saying, it's like, oh, well, I spent all this money to take care of myself. Well, yeah, but you should have been taking care of yourself before because you missed most of training camp, and then you come back and you miss opening day against the Vikings, and then you come back against the Lions, you make one pass deflection, and then you're out for another 10 weeks. So going into that question, I would hope Jalen Johnson would kind of factor some things into here that he's put himself in this position.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm curious to see what happens with them. Top 3 positions of need as you guys enter this offseason. Where are you looking, Nick?
Ooh, I didn't even get to talk about people I want re-signed, Jesse.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. No, you're right.
No, I'm going off what you wrote.
It's your world. I'm just living in it. Go ahead, man. Take it over.
I'm just getting lost in one bar's big, beautiful eyes. Him and that camera, he looks so good. Wow, beautiful. Anyway, guys, I want re-signed on the Bears. Kevin Byard's number one priority, and Ryan Poles has already made that super duper clear. You got to bring that guy back, considering what he's done. And fun fact, we have actually 0 safeties on our roster at the moment. All of them had expiring contracts. Jonathan Owens, Jaquan Brisker, which I said to myself, I was like, if Jaquan Brisker goes to the Green Bay Packers, that would be the second Penn State safety that we drafted.
Baby. Hey, let's let it happen. It'll follow the same route as Trey Amos. I'll be fine with that.
I don't want to let it happen, please.
Interception week 1 against the Bears, right? Right when you
okay.
I'm just kind of
this is my time to talk. Shush. Anyway, just kidding, Bass. Love you. So anyway, Kevin Byard's number 1. I'm going to go DeMarco Jackson, linebacker that we brought in this past year, right before. He was a former Saint, NFC Defensive Player of the Week after the Browns game. Not saying much, but still a guy that was a bench player just comes out and does that. Pretty electric, to say the least. You also have your TJ Edwards injuries, your Ruben Hippolyte. So that's number 2. I would like to see CJ Gardner-Johnson back if possible. I know this is a long wish list, but the guy brought so much energy. Yeah. Hey, listen, I called him. He said he's not paying you back. Sorry. But hey, listen. You can call him. I'll give you the number. Anyway, that's cool. I would want CJ Gardner-Johnson back just because of the energy and what he did for the Bears this year. So those are like my top 3. Nashawn Wright is pretty darn steep. He's predicted 3 years, $16 million. And, he saw that number and was like, yeah, I want that. Maybe he'll take a discount for Al Harris, but he gets burned all the time in coverage. Looking at the rest of this Bear, Durham Smith, I would love to see back. I think the Bears are going to have to bring back Braxton Jones, as crazy as that is, because Theo Benedict's out for 6 to 12 months. There's a lot of guys on this roster that I would like to see back, but Bears do have 38 guys under contract, and a lot of it's your young core. And what really matters to me is your offensive line is sticking together. Protecting Caleb Williams is key, and also that running game. Another guy that I think this is just, the more I think about it, the more I'm afraid it's going to happen. Even though I like him a lot, I think DeAndre Swift's going to get cut because he's just high-paid running back money. You have Kyle Monangai, and the Bears can draft someone in the later round this year like they did. Jesse, top 3 positions. I didn't want to miss out on my guys. I didn't want to miss out.
Jaquan Brisker. He's been in the league that long. I feel like he was just like 2 off seasons ago. I was scouting him and talking about him. I can't believe he's already been in the league that long. That's crazy.
No, yeah, and he's predicted 3 year, $33 million, so $11 million per year. Listen, he's not a bad player. He had a fantastic divisional round game, but he's just such a liability with his concussions because one more he could be, done for his career. 3 positions that we need. Number 1, defensive tackle. I saw a lot of hope in Austin Booker. That's why, like with that first round pick, I think defensive tackle is more likely for the Bears, but they have to get a top defensive tackle this draft. Grady Jarrett, Andrew Billings is apparently not coming back at the moment. I mean, he's a pending free agent, but Javon Dexter, he's also crazy to think, Jesse, that his contract's coming up here soon too, as rookie deal. So the Bears do have to go out and get somebody to address that need to stop the run. The second one is edge. I think that the Bears need to go out and get another edge into that rotation. Dio clearly isn't working out very well. We can't cut him because he has a ton of dead money. It'd be pointless, at least not till next year. And then Austin Booker started to come alive, but you still need to add to that rotation. And number 3, safety. Bears have to go out and get a safety. Jaquan Brisker and Kevin Byard are both not coming back. It's going to be one or the other, and it's probably going to be Byard, considering, again, he's been called up by Ryan Poles himself. I think that they're going to end up drafting a safety in the second or third round, someone, a big, strong safety, and they'll be paired with Byard for 2 or 3 years and go from there. So that's how it's looking right now from the Bears offseason. It's weird because last year I was like, I could talk on this the whole hour could go to me about what the Bears could do, but they're in a position right now that they're looking pretty good, but they still have some moves they have to make.
Over at Sleeper, get a 100% deposit match when you use promo code RTS. They are the fastest growing fantasy app out there. And I've got some more or less picks that I've made here for the Super Bowl. I put 10 down to win 135.90. And here's the picks for the Super Bowl. I got Mac Hollins coming in barefoot with 28.5 receiving yards. I'm taking the more on that. I got Ramondre Stevenson with more on 39.5 rushing yards. That one was basically like a free pick. I got Kenneth Walker scoring an anytime touchdown. Rashid Shaheed needs just 2 receptions. By the way, if you're a complete degenerate, Rashid Shaheed is plus 3,000 to be MVP. I don't know. Maybe he gets a kick return, a couple big explosive plays. Might want to look into that one. And then JSN with the more on 94.5 receiving yards. Those are the picks. $10 to win 135.90. You can tail us or you can fade us, but either way, use promo code RTS. And Sleeper, link is pinned to the top of the chat.
Roundtable Sports Network is your one-stop shop for all things NFL, with daily live shows covering all 8 divisions in the league, hosted by the best content creators on the web, all on one network. Catch the AFC East live every Monday at 7 p.m. and on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. The AFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. The AFC North Roundtable live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. The AFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. The NFC East Roundtable live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. The NFC West Roundtable live at 9 p.m. on Tuesday nights. The NFC North Roundtable is at 6 p.m. on Wednesdays, and the NFC South Roundtable is live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. EST. And of course, fourth and forever, the flagship show of Roundtable Sports Network, covering all things NFL at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Roundtable Sports YouTube channel. Real coverage, real fans.